Good morning, everybody. Well, they picked a new pope. I don't mind telling you, I'm still a little raw about it. I mean, they picked some dude from Argentina. It's not like I ever really expected him to pick me. I mean, after all, I'm not a cardinal or a Catholic or a theist. But still, this makes twice in the last 8 years that I've been passed over. After a certain point, it gets hard not to take it personally. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, the following calls are taken from editions of Mail Call, printed in the Herald Mail from March 4th to March 14th, 2013, which can be read online in their entirety at www.herald-mail.com. First up from Hagerstown. Hagerstown caller is right. I take God everywhere I go. I call on him when I go to work. God, please don't let corporate cut the minimum wage pay in hours today. God, please help me afford my overinflated healthcare costs and premiums. God, please let my doctor accept my health insurance to treat my cancer. God, please don't let anyone shoot me. Please let there be clean air to breathe and clean water to drink. This is the message I leave on Speaker of the House John Boehner's voicemail. So far, no response. Because John Boehner don't care what you pray for to your heathen hippie God? Minimum wage, affordable health care, not getting shot, clean air and water. Boehner's God don't give a fuck about any of that shit, apparently. You know what? I think it's about time for a house cleaning for those people down there in Congress. We got all these people laid off from work, but yet Congress and all down there can't get their heads together, and there's going to be thousands of other people out of jobs. So I think if that happens, we ought to just go to Washington and just clean house down there. Get some fresh blood in there instead of having people that rides the rail all the time and knows the system. Hagerstown. There's not another election for like a year and a half, so when you say we ought to go to Washington and clean house, and when you say fresh blood, what do you mean by that? See, I get the impression from you that you're one of those people whose brother is always having to get into fights over him. Like, say, you'll get invited to a family dinner, and you'll say something like this, and then your brother and his wife will exchange tense looks over the table, and then later on you hear them arguing in the kitchen, and she's like, why do you always have to invite him? And your brother's like, I have to, ever since Mom died, I'm the only family he has. And then she's like, where is he? I don't want him left alone with the children. It's just a guess, but I'm pretty close, aren't I? NRA President David Keene is slated to speak at Franklin County Republican Committee dinner in April. Be careful what you wish for. In recent months, the local GOP has invited Mitt Romney, Senator Rick Santorum, Representative Allen West, and Karl Rove to Green Grove Gardens in Greencastle. They all lost big time after they left Fayetteville, Pennsylvania. Yep, it's the Green Grove curse. And as you can tell from that comment, it can have some positive effects. But most people don't realize that it's also the site of Babe Ruth's last game in a Red Sox uniform, which was a postseason exhibition played at Green Grove Gardens in 1919. And it was also the site where the odd-numbered Star Trek movies were written. Its nickname around these parts is the Tomb of Lost Hope. The mail call on February 22nd says nobody can take God out of the schools. God is everywhere. You can take God with you everywhere you go. Well, that's an obvious statement, but you try to pray aloud, or you try to talk to somebody about God, or you take your Bible to school, you're in as much trouble as if you had a weapon with you. And I work in the school district. It's ridiculous. Hagerstown. You're fully entitled to bring a Bible with you, or to pray, or to talk to people about God. You just don't have the right to treat your school day like a mission trip. And see, that is the right that I think most Christians who complain about this really feel that they should have. Not the right to hold their beliefs, not even the right to practice their beliefs in a respectful and considerate way. The right to bother other people with their beliefs. That's the right they really want. Because after all, Jesus didn't say, go into all the world and help out where you can, and don't make a big deal about your religion. He said, go and make disciples of all nations. Gentle Jesus, meek and mild. I'm just calling about the robins. I have robins several times a week, big fat robins. Had them last winter, all winter, and this winter, and I'm 93 years old, and I sit here and enjoy them whenever they come in the tree in front of me. I'm sorry everybody can't enjoy them. Hagerstown. How are you cooking them? Or do you just eat them right off the tree like bony, filthy apples? According to the left and the pro-choice, abortion is a human right. But then again, they believe that protecting yourself from criminals and possibly death is not. Hagerstown. Oh, I like this game. Okay, I've got one. According to the right and the pro-life, abortion is an abomination, but the death penalty, arbitrary wars, torturing prisoners, sex discrimination, the wanton plundering of the natural world, cutting public aid to the poor, and one of the worst levels of income inequality in the developed world aren't. Okay, now you go. Whatever happened to El Nino and how it impacted our weather? Now when it's cold, it's global warming. When it's hot, it's global warming. When it's dry, it's global warming. When it's stormy and wet, it's global warming. Did the inventor of the internet, Al Gore, do away with El Nino? Williamsport. No, El Nino, which is a rush of unusually warm surface water in the Pacific Ocean, in case you have forgotten what El Nino is. It's still there, it still happens. It's a recurring phenomenon. The reason it got so much attention in the late 90s was because the effects were so pronounced in that particular instance. But it's been happening and recorded as happening for centuries, and it's probably been happening for much, much, much longer than that. I'm hardly an expert on the subject, but I did read a little bit about El Nino and also La Nina, which is the equivalent phenomenon with cooler water, before I sat down to shoot this video. And it's actually a really, really interesting subject, both from a climatological and an historical perspective. And maybe you would think so too, Williamsport, if you popped your head out of your ass and tried to learn something. In answer to the caller saying Maryland's murder rate is 47% higher than in Pennsylvania, just wait until the passage of the bill to legalize marijuana, which was introduced in the House, Maryland House, by Delegate Anderson of Baltimore. Then see what the percentage is. Smithsburg. Good point. If we legalize weed here in Maryland, the murder rate will probably go down. Never underestimate the anti-criminal influence of couch lock. And finally, from Hagerstown, I want to be critical of the gun control package that Maryland passed just this week. The whole thing in a nutshell is they want to make $25, which will mount up to billions for this state. All the state is tax and spend and charge money for everything they do. I'm glad to read this morning's paper where West Virginia is going to pick this gun manufacturing plant over there, and they said they have no controls and won't support any gun controls. Hooray for West Virginia. Yes, hooray for West Virginia, or should I say, hoorah. Maybe they should put that on the sign that you see when you cross the state line. Welcome to West Virginia, where any troubled redneck who wants a firearm can come on in and get one. I make fun of West Virginia sometimes. I call it the Somalia of the United States. I do take a certain gleeful satisfaction in pointing out the crumbling, neglected infrastructure that becomes immediately apparent as soon as you get outside the bigger towns. But the truth is, I don't hate West Virginia. I actually really love West Virginia. I love its stunning natural beauty. I love its warm, welcoming people. And most of all, I love that I can visit it anytime I like, but I don't have to live there. Thanks for watching.